What's up, YouTube, Ranger Nation? It is me, your boy, JB, and we are here today with the last episode review of Power Rangers Dino Fury, the first half. This is going to be episode number 11. The Copycat is the name of the episode. So, before we go ahead and just get into this episode, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and are not subscribed to the channel, I'm going to need you guys to do me a solid favor and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications, sharing the video. And with that, Ranger Nation, let's go ahead and discuss episode number 11 of Dino Fury, shall we? Alright, you guys, so I have to be honest with you, we're not going to be here that long. I might try to figure out a way to stretch this episode review, but the episode, to me, it really wasn't that good. I gotta be honest with you. For this to be, if this were on cable, if this was on like cable, on like Nickelodeon or something, and this was the mid-season finale, I would have been pissed that we waited 11 weeks to get to this point, and this is what we got. It just wasn't that good to me. Now, I will say, if you guys liked it, that's you guys. But for me, the episode just wasn't. And it really, I mean, let's be honest, it was a filler episode because this episode had nothing to do with anything. So, in this episode, Javi is getting ready to perform at a sing-a-thon that Buzz Blast is putting on. So Javi is going to be performing this song that he wrote. And I will say it was very interesting to see that Warden Garcia, we saw him in this episode, and Warden Garcia is very supportive of Javi. And I was like, wow, we've come a long way, right? We've come a very long way, because if you guys go back to the first half, if you go back to season 1, Warden Garcia was more supportive of Izzy and her dreams. And when it comes to Javi and his musical aspirations, he was not supportive of it. Warden Garcia wasn't supportive of Javi until Javi basically called his ass out. So it's kind of interesting to see that. So we go over to Buzz Blast and we get to the performances. So Pop performed, and we had 3 judges, similar to like American Idol, similar to, actually American Idol at this point is the only one that has 3 judges, because The Voice has 4 coaches. So it's similar to American Idol's original setup. Even still, excuse me, y'all, didn't mean to burp. It's similar to American Idol. So you got two male judges and 1 judge that's a woman. Now, mind you, I looked down at their names. Their names are Simon, Becca, and Alwyn. I was like, oh, okay. A nod to Simon Bennett, Becca Barnes, and Alwyn. I don't know what Alwyn's last name is. But I know Becca because I see Becca on Twitter from time to time. So, Blair. Now, we saw Blair a few episodes ago when Javi went on stage and performed with his band. Actually, it's the same episode when he stood up to Warden Garcia. So, Blair got up on stage and he performed his song. Coincidentally, this is Javi's song. And they were like, wait a minute, that's my song. He copied it. So with them not being able to prove who actually wrote the song, I'm like, Javi, so you didn't you didn't write sheet music and the lyrics? You didn't have that with you? I was confused about that, because anybody who writes, anybody who's a musician, you know, when it comes to your music, especially when you're playing it, you have your paper, and you're writing down the notes. So I was like, you didn't write down your notes and stuff like that, but okay. Maybe I'm gonna let that go, because I kind of found a little issue with that. So what the judges are gonna allow is they're gonna advance Javi to the next round. And if Javi wants to come up with a new song, he has the freedom to do that. But Javi's like, that's 24 hours. There's no way I can write a new song in 24 hours. I'll give Javi that. I'll give him that. Some people can't. Some people, it takes them a few days to write songs. Some people can write songs in a matter of hours. So I will give Javi that leeway. I'll let him have that one. But what we're gonna do here, you guys, is we're gonna pause here and we're gonna move forward. So we move over to Area 62 and we see Mucus, and she is watching the sing-a-thon and she's singing along with Blair. So then Void Queen comes in and Mucus is like, Void Queen, I have an idea. Why don't we copy one of the Rangers' weapons or Zords? And Void Queen is like, I'm already one step ahead of you, Mucus. And Mucus is like, I should go and be, she said she should be like one of the, be like among like, Mensa, something like that, right? And Void Queen's like, I don't think that they're gonna go for a mushroom. So Void Queen said, and Void Queen also said to Mucus that her plan is already in action. And we see the jukebox. So the jukebox is activated. And I'm like, what is she doing? So then she goes back there where Tarek is, and where she had been held at when Tarek was trying to revive her, she is now has that machine activated, and it's activated around Tarek. So we move over to the base, and Javi is talking about, he doesn't have the time, he can't really come up with the song. And Solon gives him some advice that she found on the fortune cookie. So then they get an alert, and it's a mysterious monster. So the Rangers, they go to where this monster is, and they morph into action, and they start battling with this monster. And this monster is basically beating the shit out of all of them. The monster beat Ollie and demorphed him. He demorphed Amelia, and he demorphed Izzy. He did not demorph Zato, and he demorphed Ion. So I have to remember, he demorphed Ion, Ollie, Amelia, and Izzy. So Javi and Zato were not demorphed, but Zato told Javi, get the rest of the team out of there, right? So at one point, they did find out that this monster is, they said, who are you? He says, well, I'm not Void Knight, and I'm not Tarek, I'm Void King. I'm like, Void King, okay. So when Javi got the rest of the team out of there, Zato used the Dino Knight armor to power up. So while he's battling with Void King also uses his finisher to attack Zato, and Zato eventually left, and he's like, I'll be back. So I'm gonna pause here and I'm gonna wrap up. All right, so back at the base, the other Rangers, they're resting because they got their asses kicked. So we then have Javi and Zato talking to each other. So Javi has come up with the plan that maybe Zato should battle himself to see what his weaknesses are. So Zato was like, but then he thought about it. He's like, okay, maybe that could work. So Zato is in his regular Ranger form, and then we see Javi. He's in his Ranger form, but then he used the Dino Knight. He used the Dino Knight key to turn into, use the Dino Knight armor. So they're battling, and then Javi used the finisher, and Zato said, I got an idea. So he matrixed him, and then what happened is Javi tried to power up again, but it wouldn't power up. So they found a weakness. The weakness is, once you use that final finisher once, you can't reuse it again. It has to recharge. So they now know what the weakness is. So then we see that Void King has returned. So at this point, Zato is the only Ranger that is going into battle with him. So him and Void King, they're battling each other. And Void King, he goes for the final finisher once again. So this time, Zato, he shields it, and it doesn't do anything. So then Void King, he tries to use it once again. But remember, you can only use it once. So that's when Zato was like, he used his final finisher, and he took down Void King. So he returned back to base, and they were like, you went into battle by yourself? He said, yes. He says, but that's not gonna be the last time you guys see Void King. So that's that. So then we move back over to the sing-a-thon. It is now time for Javi to perform. So everyone is wondering, what is Javi going to do, right? So Javi gets on stage and he starts performing, and he has Zato comes out. So he has his guitar, he has another guitar as well as his harmonica. I was like, okay. And to be honest with you, I liked Javi's better. I liked Javi's version, even without the guitar and the harmonica and everything. I liked Javi's version of his song a lot better than Blair's. So after Javi performs, um, what's her name? J Board tells them they have another performer by the name of Mew Mew. So we see it is Mucus. She's performing remotely, and Slyther as well as Reckmate, they know that they see her, and Slyther's like, she didn't even tell me about this. And Reckmate's like, I got this. So Reckmate zaps her and turns her into goo. So that's the end of Mucus's performance. But the winner of the competition happened to be Javi Garcia. So that's really it for episode 11 of Power Rangers Dino Fury. So we are done. We're at the now I'm literally in the hiatus mode with you guys. I know a lot of you guys have been binge watched it 11 weeks ago. So now I'm at the point where there's no more Dino Fury for me to watch. So now it's just a waiting game. But next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to am going to binge watch episodes 1 through 11, and I'm gonna come back and give you an overall review of what I think of the first half of Dino Fury. I can't give it to you right now because I just watched episode 11 this morning, but I'm gonna come back next week and give you my thoughts on episodes 1 through 11. Let you know what my favorite episodes were. Let you know what I thought about the first half. And then we will just be playing a waiting game for the second half of Power Rangers Dino Fury. I know some people are, so we are literally next week is going to be next week the last week of June? I mean, not June, May? I think so. I think next week is the last full week of May. So we're getting ready to go into June. So if I had to guess when we would get Dino Fury the second half, I would say we probably won't see it until, well, last year when it was on Nickelodeon, they gave us the 3 episodes in the second week of June, right? Like June 15th or something like that. So we shall see. Because they did do that in June last year, but then we didn't get the rest of the season until maybe a week before Nickelodeon did. And that was about August. So yeah, you guys, I really think we won't see the second half of Dino Fury until August. I think we won't see it until August. Actually, no, it wasn't August because National Power Rangers Day came up last year, and Dino Fury still had not returned, had it? Nope, it hadn't returned by National Power Rangers Day. So yeah, I think we're gonna get it late August, early September, you guys. But that's it. Let me know what you guys thought about Dino Fury episodes 1. You can actually, now we can talk about episode 11. But if you guys want to discuss episodes 1 through 11, go for it. And like I said, next week I'll come back and give you guys my overall thoughts of episodes 1 through 11, and we will discuss it then. But until then, Ranger Nation, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.